Guys, and welcome to today's video. And today we have some more fun. So yeah, let's just get straight into this, guys. So yeah, guys, if you haven't been living under a rock, recently you would have heard that there is the massive disease coronavirus. It is literally everywhere. I hear about it every single day. And I didn't think that I would be making a video dedicated to it until I found out that the Chinese Grand Prix was cancelled because of it, and the Australian Grand Prix that is meant to be getting underway isn't because, well, one of the McLaren teams, one of the people in the McLaren team, they've got coronavirus, so McLaren couldn't race in the Australian Grand Prix, and then the entire Australian Grand Prix was cancelled. So it's pretty big news. I'm quite annoyed about the Chinese Grand Prix. I think it's the Sepang is. Why did I say Sepang? The Chinese Grand Prix. It's quite a good circuit. I like it. Turn 1 is a nightmare though. It's just a very quick right that you really just. It just keeps going. It just keeps going, and then turn 2 left, not too long, and it's just a nice track. Lots of long straights, slow corners to really just test your car. I think it just pushes it to the limit. I mean, look at this really long left and then a really long right. It's a great track. Last year's Chinese Grand Prix, it was quite a boring one. Apart from that one with that massive crash, Daniel Kvyat, and then the two McLarens. That was a massive crash. So I think some of the recent Chinese Grand Prix haven't been great, but I mean, well, this year's one, if it had have gotten underway, it would have been quite interesting, I think, maybe. I don't know, you never know. I mean, if they'd raced, there might have been like a 10-car pile-up, there might have been a last lap overtake, you just never know. So I felt quite sad for the track, the fact that it's not going to be used. And the Australian Grand Prix, I mean, like, that's been completely just, that's not going to happen. And apparently they're only going to start making, like, actually driving around, actually start the season, as I slam into the wall, in June. So I think they can only really have a Grand Prix a day if that's the case, or a race and then have the next day be qualifying, and then the next day be a race, and then after that, the day after that is another qualifying, and then just keep repeating that. Keep repeating races, but we're just qualifying in between, no practice. And that is probably how, or at least they should like shorten out the gaps in between the races. So this is quite big news. I hear about coronavirus every day. Like, literally, I can't go a day without hearing about it. And, like, a few of the days, there's, like, I've got school, and lesson after lesson after lesson. Each lesson I hear about coronavirus. In break and lunch, coronavirus. There was one day where I woke up in the morning and the first thing I thought about was coronavirus for some reason. I don't know why, it was quite weird. Like, my mind just decided that it was going to think about coronavirus. That was quite weird. Yeah, I'm all over this shop. But I like in this clip, I was really pushing hard. Like, that's why I had that spin earlier, and I just slammed into the wall, like really pushing hard. Yeah, when you really push hard, I mean, if you're like, even if you're doing it in a video game or whenever you're pushing in a car, you're like a hell of a lot more likely to crash than if you're just driving around cruising, not really pushing at all. But when you can push for like a lap or something, and that would be perfectly fine. But pushing lap after lap after lap, it gets to a point where you end up in a wall. I mean, if race drivers, if in real life, if they on like a 71 lap race and they pushed for all of those laps, they would hit the wall at some point. Their race would end. Like, you can be the most professional race driver ever. If you push lap after lap, you're gonna crash. It's just like you will crash. But the point is, when do you crash? You can also, like, when you're pushing, you can notice that something's gone wrong, and then you can try and get out of it. But if it's like a slide, you can, I don't know, just, if you're pushing on like a street circuit, then yeah, just, you're gonna end up in the wall. Like, that's why in qualifying there's quite a bit of crashes. And in the race there's not usually as many crashes, because obviously the drivers are saving their tyres, fuel, that sort of thing. Because it's a long race, they want to get to the end of the race. And they don't want to have to waste tyres and just ruin the race, basically. So, I mean, like, in practice sessions, the drivers, I don't think they're pushing like that hard, because it's just practice. But, like, I think since they're not really, like, when you push, you give a lot of effort, and you really try hard to go quick. But in like practice sessions, the drivers aren't really, they're just kind of moping about, not really putting that much effort in, because it's just practice. It's not very important at all. They, as soon as they get to like a corner, like, practice sessions are like the highlights are literally filled with drivers spinning. Like, if you watch any practice session, like, it's just full of drivers spinning. Right, I've stopped pushing now. Yeah, like at the end of the race, you see the drivers slowing down. I mean, like, why would you? If like a race is ended, you don't like continue to push, do you? You slow down. So, I'm quite like, it's quite annoying how it, like, the ERS is just stuck on 100% and maximum mode. Like, it'd be quite nice if it depleted and you could like adjust it. Like, I mean, not having it deplete, like, it's quite fun to just fill around with it. Yeah, if you want to just go flat out lap after lap with the ERS on 5 and fuel mix, like, so this is the quickest version of an F1 car that you can get. Actually, I'd like if like it wouldn't deplete and you could at least adjust the fuel mix on the ERS. So yeah, back in the garage. Yeah. Okay, so that is the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Remember to subscribe and like the video, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.